Hello, my name is Becca Madsen. I'm a senior technical leader at the Electric Power Research Institute, or EPRI. I'm here to welcome you to this meeting and give you a little background and context about the electric power industry, interactions with species and habitats, and the new emerging technologies and data science applications that we have to address these, as well as a little bit of background about EPRI itself. So here we go. Welcome, everyone. It's really nice to have you here. I just wanted to say that I'm very excited that you're here virtually, even though we can't be together personally. And we're all going to be focusing on this subject matter here, looking at emerging technology and data science and how that applies to species and habitat challenges, particularly those that are relevant to the electric power industry. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about that in just a moment. The overall goal for all of our participants is to have the ability to learn, connect, and leverage. We are just in a really unprecedented time where we have a lot of new data streams that are available to address environmental challenges. One of those being, here we go, satellite imagery, Earth observation imagery, including those from traditional satellites on the left side from like NASA and European Space Administration, and on the right side from newer cube satellites, which are about the size of your coffee cup and can capture imagery the size of the country of Mexico every day. And we've got about hundreds of those in our atmosphere right now. So near real-time continuous Earth observation imagery. It's pretty amazing. In addition to that, we have lots of other different types of data collection technology and new types of data analysis. All these pictures here are indicating something that we're going to cover or have EPRI experts available to talk about. And I'm going to show you a list of all of our different projects, some of which are going to be covered in this workshop and some of which we at least can point you to the right people to talk to. So speaking of which, that's my cue to say the second objective here is to connect with speakers and participants who are using these data streams and who are using these different types of analysis that maybe we haven't used before to address challenges. I just kind of want to provide a context of the big scale of the electric power industry. So we've got all kinds of different types of generation. Okay, how do you generate electricity? Through coal-fired power plants, natural gas, nuclear, and then our renewables, hydro, wind, and solar. Okay, so nice little map over here. You can pause it if you want to kind of explore it a little bit more. Transmission lines crisscross the country. These are the larger power lines that have the cleared rights of way. And then distribution lines take that to your neighborhoods and homes, right? So here is where there are potential interactions of the electric power industry of making, generating, and delivering power and species and habitat. So bottom right of the screen, there's a little arrow that's pointing to the thermal electric power. And it's not shown on this visual, but let's just say that there can be cooling water intake valves. Okay, they're taking in water from natural streams, rivers, and there can be technologies to help prevent impacts to species at that point, sort of going counterclockwise to hydropower over there. Of course, maybe you've heard of fish ladders for salmon. There's other technologies that can be used to understand the behavior of fish in and around hydropower plants. Towards the middle, renewables are being developed, and the construction of renewables and transmission lines can have impacts to habitats, right? And so you want to think carefully about siting. And also the operations and maintenance of those wind power, for example. You want to think about interactions with bats and avian species. With transmission lines, you might want to think about the right-of-way vegetation management that is required so that trees do not grow and have the potential to fall into those lines and create a blackout. So those are some of the areas where we have some interactions with species and habitat. So let me tell you a little bit about the Electric Power Research Institute. We are an independent, nonprofit research organization. Okay, we don't get into policy and we don't get into lobbying. We focus on the research. But we make sure that that research is furthering this mission of making safer, more affordable, more reliable, and more environmentally responsible electricity. Okay, so that means that we're looking for solutions that will lower costs. So how can you reduce interactions, reduce regulatory risk of interactions with species, and thus lower costs, both for the power companies, but also for the ratepayers, for the customers? How can we make this more environmentally responsible, right? So those are the things that we try to address. So how do we work? Okay, we have a couple different streams of work that have the possibility for interacting with what you might do. So we have member-funded research areas. So electric power companies kind of come together those companies have common research challenges, and they come together and pool their funds and say, we'd like to address this area. So I have this list over here of the different research areas that relate to species interactions with electric power infrastructure. We have a core environmental data science project that started last year, and it's a 3-year project, so it's finishing up next year. The intent of that was to really understand and investigate the types of applications of data science and artificial intelligence, also catalyzed by emerging technology that are creating large streams of data, and understanding where are the most useful applications that can save costs, including labor costs, can reduce regulatory risk, and can improve environmental safety, health, sustainability outcomes. All right. So we have this website that's on the right side of the screen. There's the address right there. And for all of the research that we have done, we've made it publicly available for free there. So you can kind of get to all of that information in one spot. Here's a sample of some of our applications of emerging technology and data science projects. These are not all of them. These are focused in on our topic of the interactions with species and habitat. The ones that are in italics and with the asterisk are ones that we're going to cover, or our collaborators are going to cover at this workshop. The others we're not going to cover, but we would love to talk about them. So last thing I want to say is we said learn, connect, and leverage. So I want you to be thinking throughout this workshop from your perspective, and we've invited lots of different people here from electric power companies, folks who are working on the front lines of environmental regulations and compliance and sustainability, folks from academia and national labs, vendors, for-profit companies that are providing solutions, and then folks from policy and government. So from all those different perspectives, how can we leverage one another? Webcam's on, we'll be ready to talk, interact, and we're looking forward to meeting you. So nice to meet you. Thank you so much.